Hi there. In this GDC skills video, we're going to have a look at using your GDC to graph functions. And we'll start with a linear function just to get the ball rolling. So I'm going to press 1 to get a new document. Then I'm going to press 2 to add graphs. And by default, it gives you the graph window here where you can start typing in a function to graph. I'm going to put in f of 1 of x equals 3x plus 2, a very straightforward linear function, as you can see. Now, there's a couple of ways I can get this critical information, but probably the easiest way is to go to menu and then go to trace and then go to graph trace like so. It's already jumped straight to the y-intercept, but as I use these cursors here, it just goes up and down the line, but it tends to stop at critical points. So it's stopped here at y-intercept, and down here you can see it's got 0, 2. So the y-intercept is 2. I know it's easy to see from this, but I'm just saying. And then if I keep on pressing the arrow, it hits the 0 there, negative 0.667 or minus 2/3, which I know we can solve very easily, but I'm just pointing out that you can do that. And then it will keep on going. So that's a graph trace. The other thing I just point out as well is that if I go to menu and go to analyze graph, there is the capacity to work out a 0 here, like so. So if I hit 0 and click here and then click here, there's a label for that point that I just found, negative 0.667 or negative 2/3, and that's there permanently now without the trace. I don't think there's any particularly easy way of working out the y-intercept in a similar fashion. So there you go. That's a linear function. Let's start again. You can graph more than one thing on a set of axes, but it gets a little bit tedious to do that. And this time I'm going to add a graph, and I'm going to add in a quadratic function. I'm just going to make it up, and the numbers aren't going to be necessarily pretty. Oops, -4 like that. No idea what it's going to look like. There we go. There's my quadratic function. And I've managed to sort of have it in a reasonable kind of shape there. I can go and zoom the window up to make it look a little bit more tidy, but I won't go into window zooming here. But again, I can use the I can use the trace to get to the critical points. So graph trace, it's straight away gone to the y-intercept of 0, -4. And it will trace through, hit the 0 again. So that's 1, 0, and then up to the graph, as you can see, and down again to the y-intercept. And then it will also hit the minimum as well. So minus 0.167 and negative 4.08 is the turning point. So turning points are sometimes called vertices. They're sometimes called maximum and minimum, depending on whether it's a smiley or frowny graph. So a smiley graph has a minimum, a frowny graph has a maximum. And then as I keep on tracing, I get a 0 there as well. So that's certainly one way that I can get that. Note that this value here is how the calculator has approximated the function in some ways, and that just simply means -2.3 times 10 to the negative 12, which means move that decimal point back 12 times. If you think about that, that's very close to 0 to be 0. The other thing you can do if you want to is go to menu. I showed you zeros a second ago. You can also do maxima and minima. So minimum, I just choose one side of the turning point, then go to the other side of the turning point, and sure enough, out pops the turning point right there. So that's basically how you can get the critical information from your GDC. Hope that was helpful.